It's been such a long time since Boston led the way. It's more than a feeling. It's Mike and Tom to start the day. The heart of Massachusetts should be freedom, justice, and liberty. Freedom-led pilgrims of Plymouth Bay. Salem trials had justice too late. The sons of liberty spilled the tea, and then the redcoats spilled their blood. The shot heard around the world rang out from the Bay State. Boston strong and ready to defend. It's where revolution started and ends. It's been such a long time since Boston led the way. It's more than a feeling. It's Mike and Tom to start the day. Quincy Market, Freedom Trail, Charles River, Boston Harbor, Bunker Hill, Griffin Wharf, Fenway Park, Omar Charge. It's been such a long time since Boston led the way. It's more than a feeling. It's Mike and Tom to start the day.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
And how are you today?
I am a wreck today.
Oh, my.
My youngest is starting wrestling practice tonight.
Oh, my.
And
That's
I
nice.
am just a wreck because of all his health problems. It scares the crap out of me because I won't be there.
No, you're all right. Listen, that wrestling's like he's all right. You know what wrestling is? It's more getting in shape than anything. It's just a workout.
Yeah, he started doing
90% of it's cardio, so they make you run around a lot and do exercises and stuff. So it's
yeah,
not
he
as physical as you think it might be.
he was in wrestling when he was all three of my boys started wrestling when they were 3 years old.
Mhm.
And so he was in wrestling when he was 3.
Oh, so he's been down this road already.
Yeah, but I was able to be there because he was in the youth program. Now he's going on into the 7th grade high school program.
Listen, that's part of being a mom.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's a
I
nervous
know.
wreck.
Yeah, that's
Took
part
him
of being
to
a
his
mom.
physical yesterday, and he had a concussion a year ago in last May, and 6 staples put in his head because some kid kicked him off the side of the slide.
What?
And yeah,
Jesus. Is he
so 6
okay?
staples. Yeah, he ended up having a concussion, and like it was horrible. He
It's
called
funny.
me.
Them concussions are no joke. People don't realize it, but man, you don't see straight when you get knocked in the head like that. That's
Right. I was surprised he had called me when he got kicked off the side of the slide, and he's like, "Mom, can you come pick me up from the park because I fell on my head and it's bleeding pretty bad."
whoa,
So
whoa! Time out! Time out! Time out! Breaking news:
uh-oh.
Brian Walsh pleading guilty.
He just switched? Shut it.
Brian Walsh pleading guilty.
Nuh-uh. Really?
I'm looking it up right now. My source has never been wrong. She is dead on every time. Let me look. Let me look. Let me look.
I was just literally on Melanie Little too.
All right. Outage
So
at
then
Cloudflare disrupts the internet, including X and ChatGPT. Okay. I don't see any breaking news here. So let me look at the.
I know Boston 10 is covering it.
I'm looking at the globe. Nothing breaking here. Man, if you look at the front page of the globe, it's just it's a mess. Granted, it's a lot of information, but they can do better. Change the font for Christ's sakes.
So Boston 10 is covering it was supposed to be the jury.
I'm checking all the like the big newspapers around here.
Oh, okay.
Like the Globe, the Herald. Those are the biggies, and I see nothing. So where?
Let me rewind. Melanie's real quick.
What station? What station? Channel 25. Live. The freaking, of course,
Yep, I just watched it on Melanie's. I rewound, and he went from Jim just had him put his hand up, and he read not guilty to guilty, and he said, "I do." You're muted, Tom.
all right, I'm looking.
Wild.
That's insanity. I'm going to pull up Melanie, okay, guys?
Wild.
Melanie's awesome. Got it. Boom.
And I'm an
Boom.
Associate Justice of the Superior Court in Massachusetts. I understand from your lawyers that you wish to change your plea to guilty to counts indictment 002 and in 003. And before I can accept that change of plea to guilty to those two indictments, I need to ask you some questions to make sure that your decision to plead guilty is made voluntarily and that you understand the consequences of pleading guilty to those two offenses. If at any time during the course of this colloquy, you don't understand something that I am saying to you, just let me know by letting your attorneys know. Let them consult with you. And equally, if I don't understand something that you're saying to me, I'll ask for that further clarification. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Can you please state your full name, sir?
Brian Walsh.
All right. And Mr. Welsh, do you have any difficulty speaking or understanding English?
I do not, Your Honor.
How old are you, sir?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Sure, I'll try to get into this microphone. How old are you?
50.
And what's your exact date of birth?
January 31st, 1975.
Where were you born, sir?
Boston.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have any children?
Yes.
And what are their ages?
9, 6, and next month, Brian will be 5.
How far did you go in school?
College, some college.
That was like a year and a half or 2 years.
Oh, yes.
And where did you go to school?
Carnegie Mellon,
What did you study?
business and computer science.
As an adult, have you had full-time employment?
I've had my own businesses,
And in what kind of businesses?
mostly consulting.
Okay. I need to ask you some personal questions. I'm going to ask you those questions now. Have you ever in the past been treated for any mental illnesses or conditions?
Yes.
Tell me about them.
Depression.
And are you aware of whether anything else other than depression?
That was the main thing.
All right. And are you presently aware of whether you have any mental illnesses or conditions, to include depression?
No.
Are you taking?
Do we need to point out he was just in Bridgewater State for 40 days to determine his competency to stand trial? She needs to make sure that he's mentally in check to be able to plead guilty to these 2 charges. This is crazy. I know a lot of things are happening with the internet. The Cloudflare is down. Everything's wonky today, but Brian Walsh is pleading guilty to 2 of these charges. I'm trying to find his indictment. I know I have it somewhere in my computer, but I can't find it.
Any medications?
No.
In the last 24 hours, have you taken any drugs, legal or illegal?
No,
In the last 24 hours, have you consumed any alcohol or alcoholic beverages?
no,
Is your mind clear here today?
yes.
Tell me in your own words, sir, why are you here
I'm here to plead guilty.
on those 2 counts?
Yes,
And you understand that your trial's starting today
yes.
on the first indictment? All right. To defense counsel, have you had any difficulty communicating with your client?
No,
No, Your Honor.
And do you believe that he has understood the advice that you've provided to him?
yes,
Same.
So at this time, I'm going to go over what's called the waiver of rights. And at the end of it, I'm going to give you the form back that I believe you signed earlier today. Do you understand, sir, that by pleading guilty, that you're giving up your right to have a public, fair, and impartial trial as to each of the 2 indictments to which you're now pleading guilty, with or without a jury, to determine your guilt or innocence?
I do, Your Honor.
And do you understand that if you went to trial, you wouldn't have to prove anything? For example, you never have to take the stand to testify. You would never have to call any witnesses. No jury could ever hold it against you if you did not present any evidence at all. Instead, it is the Commonwealth that has the burden to prove you are guilty of each of the offenses and each element of those offenses beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
I understand, yes.
You have the right to be tried by a jury of 12.
We are right now watching Brian Walsh plead guilty out of two of the 3 charges for which he is charged. He will still go to trial for murder, as far as I can understand. As far as the chat going off on Karen Reed and her papers, yes, I'm aware. Yes, I will cover it, but I'm not going to stop covering Brian Walsh this minute in order to cover that this second. So let's give this case the attention it deserves, and then we can move on to something else if that's okay with you. Thank you very much.
Of people selected from your community, and you would have the right to participate in jury selection. You could not be found guilty unless the Commonwealth convinces all 12 jurors that you are guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and they unanimously agree you are guilty. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
You also have the right to be tried by a judge instead of a jury. And again, the judge couldn't find you guilty unless the Commonwealth presented evidence sufficient to convince the judge beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty of the charge. Do you understand?
Yes,
Do you understand that if you went to trial, you would have the right to confront your accusers and any other witnesses that may testify against you by facing them and having your attorneys ask questions of them?
yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand that if you went to trial, you would have the right to call your own witnesses, present your own evidence, and if you wished, even testify on your own behalf? Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty here today, you're giving up your right to pursue any arguments or motions that your attorneys may have made or filed on your behalf in this case, and that may include motions to dismiss and motions to suppress, as well as your right to appeal any rulings or decisions that the court may have already made in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you willing to give up each of those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Pass that to the defendant. Sir, if passed, had the court officer pass to you defendant's waiver of rights, have you seen that form before?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you read that document or have someone read it to you?
Yes, Your Honor, I read it.
Have you reviewed it with your attorneys? Do you understand it? Do you understand what's contained on the waiver of rights form?
I do, Your Honor.
You understand that that form sets forth in writing what you and I have just been discussing a moment ago in terms of your willingness to waive your constitutional and statutory rights and plead guilty to the 2 indictments.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that your signature at the end of the document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you sign that voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor, I've signed it voluntarily.
By signing that form, you're confirming to me, sir, in writing that you are aware of the rights explained on the form, that you understand them, and that you voluntarily waive them. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow. This is insane. He did it.
Do you understand, sir, that you are pleading guilty to the following two indictments? Indictment 002, which charges willfully misleading a police investigation, a criminal investigation, in violation of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 268, Section 13B, and in Indictment 003, you are pleading guilty to, while not being lawfully authorized by proper authorities, willfully conveying away a human body or the remains thereof in violation of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 272, Section 71. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you talked to your attorneys about each of these two indictments?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has counsel explained the elements of each of those two indictments that the Commonwealth would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand each indictment?
I'm sorry, what did you?
Do you understand each indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
And to defense counsel, have you explained the elements of each of the two offenses to your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to ask that the assistant of the Commonwealth, whoever wishes to do it, would tell me what the maximum and minimum sentences are. And I don't believe there are any mandatory minimum sentences, but you can tell me if there are.
There are no mandatory minimum sentences, Your Honor. The maximum sentence on count 2 is 10 years unless the investigation is into a capital offense, and then it is a 20-year sentencing enhancement, up to 20 years. On count 3, it is up to 3 years in state prison.
He's already been in for over 3. He's already been in for almost 2023. Well, he's been in for almost 3. He didn't plead to the murder charge. They're still going to go to trial on the murder charge. I'll explain everything afterwards. So just hang on. I have the indictment. We can look at it. Remember, witness intimidation is the same statute under which Aiden Carney has been charged, 268. And so Brian Walsh has been charged with misleading the police investigation by lying about his whereabouts and where he went on the days after Anna Walsh's disappearance, because then they did his total phone extraction and found his location data. And so they're claiming that he lied to police and he misled the investigation, and also that he disposed of a corpse. And he's pleading guilty to both. The witness intimidation charge, which is also falls under the misleading the police charge, carries a max of up to 10 years, which we know from Aiden Carney's case.
Wow.
But the disposal
So
of a corpse is only up to 3 years. And he's been incarcerated since his arrest in 2023. And the jury will not know about this. So just let's sit tight. And then we are going to recap and go over any parts that we do not understand or you do not understand. This is Judge Frenier. This is the same judge that has been on this case for a very long time.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh, did you hear the maximum possible sentences for the charges that the Commonwealth just recited?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand those maximum potential offense charges, sentences?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that I have the authority to impose consecutive sentences on indictments, meaning, for example, that the sentence on the second indictment would begin only after you completed your sentence on the first indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if I impose a period of probation, you will be subject to the terms and conditions imposed, including not committing any other crimes and reporting to your probation officer?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you should later be found in violation of any of the terms or conditions of your probation, a judge could sentence you up to the maximum penalty allowable by law for any of the charges on which you have been found in violation of probation, and would be required to sentence you to any mandatory minimum penalty required by the law.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand what I just explained?
Yes.
Pleading guilty has certain implications for you, and I'm going to go over those implications with you now. First is DNA testing. By pleading guilty to these 2 indictments, you will be required by law to submit a sample of your blood, hair, and/or saliva, and that sample will become part of the Massachusetts DNA database. You will be required to pay for the cost of collecting, preparing, and processing that sample unless you are determined to be indigent, and failure to comply with this law will subject you to separate criminal penalties. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you still willing to plead guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
I know earlier in the colloquy this morning, you told me that you were born in Boston, and I have no reason to doubt that. But the law mandates that I give you warnings with regard to immigration consequences, and I'm going to give you those immigration consequences now. If you are not a citizen of the United States, you are hereby advised that my acceptance of your guilty plea may have the consequence of deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, and denial of your naturalization request, all pursuant to the federal laws. Further, if the offense to which you are pleading guilty is under federal law, one that presumptively mandates removal from the United States, and federal officials seek your removal, it's practically inevitable that this conviction will result in deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, and/or denial of your naturalization request, again, under those federal laws. Do you understand what I just said?
Yes.
Has your attorney advised you of these consequences if you are not a citizen of the United States?
Yes, Your Honor.
And understanding that, do you still wish to plead guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because the sentence for count number 2 could be a sentence, a state prison sentence of 3 or more years, I'm now going to give you what's called the habitual offender law warning, which I'm required to give you. Here it is. If at some time in the future you are convicted or plead guilty to a third or subsequent offense that is within the category of offenses covered by the statute, then 1, you may be imprisoned in state prison for the maximum term provided by law for such third or subsequent offense. 2, your sentence could not be reduced or suspended. And 3, you may be ineligible for probation, parole, work release, or furlough, or to receive any deduction in the sentence for good conduct. Do you understand what I just said?
Yes, Your Honor.
And understanding what I've advised you with regard to these sentencing consequences, are you still willing to plead guilty to the 2 charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
Just flip
All
the
right.
pages.
I'm now going to ask the Assistant District Attorney to summarize the evidence that would have been presented against you by the Commonwealth if you went to trial in this case. I'm going to ask, sir, that you listen carefully, because when the ADA is finished, I'm going to ask you some questions about the facts that the ADA has stated.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, regarding count 002, misleading police in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 268, Section 13B. On or about or in between January 1st to January 8th, 2023, Mr. Walsh did willfully mislead police officers with the intent to impede, obstruct, delay, prevent, and otherwise interfere with the criminal investigation to the disappearance and murder of Anna Walsh. The defendant first misled the Cohasset police in the morning of January 4th, 2023, when after he reported his wife, Anna Walsh, missing. He stated to a Cohasset police officer that Anna Walsh had left the Walsh residence improper disposal of Ms. Walsh's remains. And the defendant, when asked his marriage status, said that he was married. And consequently, Your Honor, then that is not an accurate relaying of his current status to the court and could be invalidating the plea. So I believe he has to be asked that question again. And I believe that if he continues to say he's married, that he's negating facts of count 3.
All right, I'll give defense counsel an opportunity to speak with your client.
Your Honor, I apologize. I couldn't exactly hear what Mr. Connor's caveat was.
In response to one of the early questions I asked of the defendant, I asked him if he was married, and he said yes, he was. And the Commonwealth is raising the point that if that were true, that it might negate proof of the disinterment, which requires a human body or remains. Do you want to speak to your client about that?
A moment, Your Honor.
Mhm.
So he's pleading guilty to lesser charges here. And I'm
This is-
also looking for another set of documents.
Respectfully,
This is
I don't
exciting,
see this
actually.
as a relevant or material issue. If the court wants clarification, I'm happy to approach sidebar.
Why don't we do that?
Okay.
This is all discoverable material, just not right now. And that's what they're keeping from that lady who's trying to get it. Corey, is that her name?
Corey Richens?
I believe so. But they're really busting her chops, right? Because she's suing them for access to the transcripts. Matter of fact, let me check my email to see if I get any response from
Oh, you mean Corey, the
lawyer on
attorney?
Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, her.
God, what is her last name?
All right, I see nothing so far. Let's see. Canva.
Oh, really quick.
Yes.
Happy 29th birthday to Kelsey Fitzsimmons.
Happy birthday. Unfortunately, it's not where you want to be. Working on it. Got a lot of
No.
people over here working on it.
The world is behind her. She needs to stay strong for that
Yep.
beautiful baby boy.
She can do this. I know she can do this.
Yes,
Look at
she
what
can.
look at what she's been through already. And the
Right.
fact they got her in jail is there's no words for that. Come on. You separated a mother from their child? Really?
After
Okay.
you shot her, Noonan needs to be arrested for attempted murder or
Listen,
homicide or
a
whatever they
bullet,
call it.
I think a bullet, if I heard correctly, a bullet fragment pierced her diaphragm. That's what makes you breathe. So when she does the test, it's a lot of pain for her, and it takes a lot for her to do what you and I would just normally do because of our lungs, the way they work. Hers are broken. They're not healed correctly yet.
Right. My son, he's 13. He had his right lower lobe removed from his right lung when he was 4 months old. He
Oh.
has to go to a pulmonologist every 4 months,
Yep.
and he has to blow into same type of machine,
Right.
like a breathalyzer. He's got to blow into it every 4 months to see how many candles he can blow out. With his asthma, he still struggles. He cannot blow all of them candles out. Then they give him his inhaler. Then he blows again to see if he can get those candles out, and he still can't.
So
I can't imagine what Kelsey goes through. I'm in tears when I'm watching my son do this. I can't imagine what Kelsey is going through.
How old was the baby?
So, Mr. Welsh,
When he was
earlier
taken
today,
away?
I asked you whether you were married, and you answered yes, you were married. Do you remember that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is it correct that you were married to Anna Walsh for a period of time,
Yes, Your Honor.
and that under the law, death extinguishes marriage? It may not religiously or otherwise, spiritually, but under the law, when someone dies or when someone is dead, you can no longer be married to them. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so are you married today?
Your Honor, if I may, insofar as previous discussions, for purposes of a successful plea colloquy and meeting the elements of the crime, he is acquiescing to the fact that lawfully he is not married today.
All right, did you hear what your lawyer just said? Agree with what your lawyer just said?
Yes, Your
Yes.
Honor, I agree.
All right. Anything else that we need to cover?
No, Your Honor.
All right. To the extent that the Commonwealth is objecting to the taking of the plea on other grounds, that is overruled. My job here is to make sure that I have a valid plea. And that means that the defendant is pleading guilty to the
Corey
elements that the
Hopkins.
Commonwealth
Thank you,
would have
Gail.
to prove beyond reasonable doubt. And I have inquired sufficiently to assure myself that he has admitted to each of the elements of the two offenses of indictment 02 and 03.
Kelsey's baby was 6 months old when
So I know
this
we
happened.
discussed at an earlier point the issue of victim notification. And I'll ask on the record now for the Commonwealth. Has the Commonwealth advised the victims of this case, of the defendant's offer to change his plea to guilty?
Yes, we have notified the victims, Your Honor.
And based on our prior discussions, I understand that the victims may wish to address this court prior to any sentencing of the defendant.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. And both parties, and we've talked about this, have agreed that we're not going to be sentencing the defendant today on the indictments that he's now pleading guilty to, correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Attorney Tipton, Borges? All right. And we'll give the victims a reasonable opportunity to address the court before sentencing, of course.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's gonna be horrific. Kids, victim witness
You
statement.
understand, Mr. Walsh, that at the time that we do get to sentencing, that by law, I'm not bound to any recommendation that's made by the prosecution or your lawyers. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that I may impose any sentence permitted by law up to the maximum allowable sentence.
Yes, Your Honor.
Death.
Does anybody know where the kids are right now? Even
Hey,
Having considered
grandparents, I
Mr.
believe.
Walsh's criminal history, the government's proffered evidence, I will later consider the victim's statements to the court for matters for sentencing. I find that Mr. Walsh has met the requirements to tender a plea to counts 2 and to counts 3. I make the following findings. I find that the defendant is not presently under the influence of drugs or alcohol, and that he hasn't reported that he's not presently suffering from any mental illness or condition, and that he's not presently taking any medications. I find that the defendant understands the nature of the charges and the consequences of his pleading guilty. I find that the defendant's change of plea to guilty with respect to each of the 2 indictments, 02 and 03, is made knowingly, willingly, intelligently, and voluntarily, and with the full knowledge of its consequences. I find that the defendant's change of plea on these 2 indictments to guilty is made upon with the advice of competent counsel, and I find there's a factual basis in the evidence as has been summarized by the prosecution and limited by defense counsel on behalf of the defendant for each of the 2 indictments to which the defendant now pleads guilty. Accordingly, I accept Mr. Walsh's plea of guilty as to indictments 002 and 003. Anything else that counsel that we need to do on the change of plea?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So
Kirks, I
let
think
me
so.
turn to impanelment.
They were just part of the charges. They had like 10 charges. He's doing guilty on 2 of the charges, 2 of whatever there were. I don't know.
I
the
think
total.
you each had an opportunity last night to look at the questionnaire, and I know that defense counsel asked for an additional question to be added. I did add that.
No problem. That's kind of why we're all here. Gil's pretty plugged in, so it's great at putting it all together for us. But yeah, we're watching Brian Walsh plead guilty as we speak to charge 02 and 03. Whatever those 2 charges are, we
Oh,
can look
I
them
just
up
have the
later.
right version. Counsel, if you want to come up, you can take a look at what I added.
So yeah, two of the charges he's pleading guilty to. One of them was dismemberment of a corpse, I think, right? That was
Yep.
one of them they got him on.
Yep.
And he pled
then
guilty to that. So
the
how's
other
that
one
not
was-
how's that not destroy and just canoe the entire case otherwise?
And the other one that he pled guilty to was interfering with an investigation.
That's right. So that was those two charges. He pled guilty to them.
Yep.
So now he's still going to go to trial for the wrongful death of Anna.
I wonder if when he's going to come out and say where her body is. Well, it's long gone now. I mean, it
Yeah, but
was
he's got to.
obviously,
Yeah, that's got to be part of the plea, right? It's got to
you
be.
would think.
It has to be. How do you not?
I mean, she obviously is in a dumpster.
Or somewhere. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. This is wild. This is exciting, actually.
Live.
Like,
Watching it live. Can you believe it?
this is crazy.
It is. But yet, see, this is where it's complicated, Kirk. Even them asking him if he's married, he said yes. I guess technically he is, but because this death that they're assuming happened, right? Then you're not married. You can't be married to someone that's not here, that's passed away. Marriage stops and ceases at that point when one person passes.
I think that's where he was like struggling with admitting that he actually did it, is because he still wanted to consider himself married. Psycho.
Yep. And
Psycho.
and my fangirl, fanboy, whatever it is, I'm wicked. I get excited over Michelle McPhee's tweets. You know Michelle McPhee? You know who she is? Oh, she's plugged in to the Massachusetts State Police like I can't even begin to tell you. Whenever she tweets something, it's better than accurate. How about that?
Oh, Gail said he pleaded guilty to witness intimidating. I thought Melanie
Is
had
it
it.
witness
Scrolling on the-
intimidation? Or in doing something with yeah. Wow.
I thought it was
Exposing of a
interfering with it.
corpse. So if they have him on that, then there's your murder case right there. It's proven itself, Gail, within that one charge. Right? Wendy, that's what I was looking at. Yeah. Karen suing them. I'm looking for that document, Wendy.
Did you see my message I sent you?
I didn't. I did, but I didn't. I got 8 messages. Oh yeah.
Aiden posted it on Twitter. Ted Daniels had posted it on Twitter.
Yeah, I got him. I'm looking at his Twitter now. There's no link to it. He's just the front page of it.
Oh,
And it just says that it's just the front cover page of Karen Reed versus Proctor, Uri, Tully, Alberts, McCabe, and Higgins. And you know what? If this got filed yesterday, word probably came through. And what do? Offense, offense, offense. You say, hey, we're going to sue Aiden. That was the big thing yesterday. But guess what's really happening? Karen's actually suing all these people.
yeah.
That was a fail.
Well, and like Aiden said too, he hopes that they sue him.
Right? Because
He
that
hopes.
opens. So here's the issue. Are you ready? Here's the problem. Michael Proctor, Uri, Tully, and the Alberts and the McCabe and the Higgins now have access to all the communication that I had with Karen Reed.
Yeah.
You realize that?
Yeah.
That's all going to come out.
I was watching I Don't Belong Here last night,
Okay.
and she was talking about, she was going over the Jen McCabe testimonies. The one thing that I cannot figure out is if they have like the cell phone data where Jen had called Julie Albert and Nicole Albert,
Yes.
and when Karen Reed called. Okay, so Jen was lying, saying that she didn't talk to either Julie or Nicole Albert that morning. But if they have all their cell phone records, wouldn't it show that Nicole answered the call from Jen McCabe and Julie answered the call from Jen McCabe, or they didn't? Wouldn't it show that? Can't they put like the two dots together and say, you just lied on stand, so you're going to be charged with perjury? I mean,
listen, I know a couple things about that, right? Let me just say that the uncharted hero, we'll say here, or the underlying problem is I do believe that they're using a third person to do the communication and to do the questioning and to say, hey, what's going on here? And that third person that they're using is Kerry Roberts. Oh, hi, Amy. Amy's here. So Jen McCabe calls Kerry like she does every day, or sees Kerry like she might see Kerry, and says, hey, the ice cream man was at my house again. Who is he? What's going on? Find out. She can't make the phone call, but Kerry Roberts can. Kerry Roberts can do the background. Hey, who's this guy knocking on doors? Kerry Roberts can ask that question versus Jen McCabe asking that question. And you just know what I'm saying? Like they're going to use other people to do certain things.
Right.
Make sense?
And here's my other thing too is okay, so Jen McCabe and Carrie Roberts had met one time, spoke one time before John O'Keefe was unalived.
I don't know about that.
The
Maybe.
way
I
Carrie
heard. I heard she was trying to get into the cool kids club. Is what I heard.
So going from the first trial to the second trial, the way I feel Carrie turned on all of them, and that's why there was such a difference in their testimony from the first trial to the second trial.
What would you
Because
think if? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What would you think if that was just the act that she was playing?
yeah, it could be.
Think about it, right?
I don't think I'll ever understand fully this entire case altogether. Like
Yeah.
it makes my head spin.
I think she's more involved than is to be led to believe. I really do.
It's just bizarre. Just what have you ever watched Sam?
No, but
Oh,
y-
she's so good.
there's some. I heard Aiden say there's a lawyer out there that's trying to get sued. He's actively trying to get sued.
Really?
Yes, just to try and get the people's phone records. Exactly right, Kirks. Why would they do
Oh,
that, right? Why not just try and fade off and move away or whatever, right? Oh, you got people that have money and have connections that say, "Oh, I get this one owes me a favor, and I know what this on the judge, and the judge owes me this, and I'm friends with the judge, and the judge is the end all be all." It's quite long sidebar, isn't it?
yeah, it is.
Um,
So does he seriously think that this is gonna like benefit him on all the rest of the charges? Like the
yes,
jury's gonna find him not guilty? Because I know if I was on that jury, I'd be like, yeah, guilty. Now tell me where the body is.
yeah, right, exactly, right. What happened? Where did At least tell me what happened.
Mm-hmm. Why did you unalive her? Why did you chop her up? Where did you put her? At least give that to your kids. You know what I mean? Let your kids have closure for goodness sakes.
Right.
I mean, this is gonna ruin them kids their whole life. Not just the fact that their mom was unalived, but the fact that their dad did it.
Listen, Farwell, stop. See Sandra on his way to help his wife give birth to his child.
I know it's
On
disgusting.
on the way, like stop, get milk, Stop, see Sandra, coming see me.
Yep.
What? What world are we living in? How?
That's gross. That's gross.
Every time you see a kid, how are you not gonna see Sandra?
Right.
Your kid's born the same day you did that. Really? Hmm.
I wonder if his wife still visits him.
That's a great question.
I sure in the hell wouldn't. I'd be like, yeah, you look at those walls in that jail cell with nothing on them, and you just stare at that brick wall. That's it. Like, no. Nope. You're not seeing my kids. You're not seeing me. Peace. Peace out.
Wow. What is going on? Hi, Cheryl with an ass. Good morning.
Don't say hi to her. She's mean. She's a bully.
Cheryl with an S. Welcome to the Brian Walsh guilty party. He's pleading guilty to 2 charges. Out of how many did they have total on him?
Was it 10?
Bunch.
9? 9 or 10, I think.
Oh, I just got sent something.
Cheryl, just kidding. I love you.
You love Cheryl. I know you love Cheryl.
I love my Cheryl with an S.
I don't want that with my freaking messages. What's up with Twitter? Are you on Twitter?
There's a outage. A cyber something
Yeah.
outage or something like that. So I guess Twitter was down. The thing to make thumbnails was down. Melanie said.
Farwell's motion to transfer venue. He's trying to get out of Norfolk County, wherever he's in. Motion to transfer venue.
Don't these idiots realize that if they're trying to transfer their cases to a different county, that they might end up worse off with a different judge? Like, all these people that are involved with Norfolk County should understand that they probably should stick to Norfolk County where the judges care about them.
All right, so listen, this is a 25-page document right here. This outlines a lot of stuff. There may be some new information in it. So I'm not sure if you guys want me to read this. I'm very interested in it.
Yes, I think we should.
Okay. This is what? Are we still like Channel 5? What's going on? Are we like this in? It's still live.
Well,
Like I can't pop the new window open and read the show you the document. Like if I could put that in a corner, I would. Kidding me?
if you
How
want
can I-
me to, I can turn Channel 5 on and tell you if it comes back on.
You're in a different region. You're in the Midwest. Try it. See if it's on. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying like on YouTube.
Oh,
I can
okay.
I can turn it on YouTube on my Chromebook, keep you on
Yeah.
my phone.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. There you
I
go.
just won't be able to see the chat.
And I can swap it.
Yeah, I just won't
Oh,
be able to see
I
the
got,
chat.
man, I got Karen's complaint too. Man. "46 pages.
Karen's is that big?
Karen's is 46 pages. Karen Reed.
Let me see
I got it.
what Melanie. is saying right now, real quick. You know, since she's the lawyer and she knows it.
And this is was filed. It date filed 11/17. So we all knew Karen was suing them, right? Because that news had come out. This is the actual lawsuit that was filed yesterday, it seems. I'll pop it up on the screen in a second. I just want to keep channel 5 on.
I just looked at Melanie's and she's behind, so I don't think she even knows that it went to a sidebar and it's staying on the screen. But I do have Boston 5 on my Chromebook, so I can just let you know.
Okay, let's
If they
see.
come back.
Oh my. Lots of lawyers. Jesus. Jackson Little. All right. I'm going to do the Karen Reed one first, I guess. You guys, I can read it. Na, 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 where are you? I can't find the Super StreamYard link. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right.
I'm pulling it up on my TV also. Otherwise, I can't chat with anybody. So I'm pulling
And
Boston 5 up.
and Jennifer Fay, there's something going on Friday. I'm gonna do that.
Awesome.
Yep.
I did tell some of the Rat House Media peeps about that last night too.
Yeah. Nice.
From that you're gonna
I
be
think
talking about that.
I think we might be early for them. You know what I mean? I'm not sure where they're from, but I just think they're on a different like time.
Danny is on my time.
Oh, okay. So he's an hour back.
Yeah, he is in Alabama.
Alabama. Okay. We're getting somewhere, people. StreamYard back. We are. Hello, hello, hello. Everyone's back again. Walsh pled guilty to 2 of his charges. One of them was like improper disposal of a corpse. He didn't follow the rules.
He didn't put it where it was supposed to be put.
Listen, if he buried in his backyard, he could say it's a cemetery. Maybe get a tax exemption or something.
I shouldn't be laughing at that, but that is kind of funny.
Kind of funny how Colin went up 3 flights of stairs when there's only 2 flights at the freaking house. How do you go up 3?
I know, right?
All right, I got
What-
Karen Reed document. Let me pull it up.
Didn't he try saying that the 3 flights started from the outside the house? Like
I don't, you know, I
he
don't
had to walk
remember.
up a flight of stairs to get to the main door of their house, and then it's another flight and then another flight. That's how he claimed it was 3 flights of steps.
And then you look at the condos. There's only 2.
Yeah. Idiots.
shit. Bang.
Somebody
we go.
broke my TV remote, and I'm not happy about it.
Oh, that would be not happy too.
You know the little Roku remote?
Yes, I
How
have
it's
2 of
got
them.
It's got the OK in the middle.
Yes,
Well,
in the circle.
Somebody broke the OK, so it doesn't want to work.
A little too hard pressing on that.
Yes, it's pissing me off.
All right. I can read this. Are you guys ready to rock and roll?
Yes, we are.
All right.
And I'll just pop
You-
in
You
as
keep
soon as
eye on
this
the.
comes up.
You just keep if he comes back on, right? Just let
Yep.
me because it's where is it? Still here. I still have it up. It's nothing happening. So
Yeah, I got it up on my TV and I got it I'll use my.
Whoa!
What?
I gotta record this. You're not gonna believe what I'm seeing just by shutting that window.
Fireworks?
No, my screen. That was messed up. That's still messed up. What's going on? See that stuff? That's a video card, I think. It's bizarre. Shutting that down.
You guys get any snow yet?
No.
Are 1 to 2 inches of slush turned into like not even a dusting on the ground? They got us all hyped up for nothing.
It's usually how it works.
Yep.
Downloading this. Open it. I gotta mute this. Wait till you see this. This is what happened. All right. I'm gonna share you guys. I'm gonna show you guys exactly what happened to my screen when I stopped. I have a wicked headache now. Jesus Christ, does that hurt? I think it's the video card. I think. But where
What
are
did it do?
you? I'm gonna show you. Check this out. You ready? This is my computer screen. The Brian Walsh was on my screen. I checked it. I went to close it. Check this out.
Wow, that's weird.
See it going? It's not supposed to do that. And
Yeah,
then
I
it goes
know.
back to that. Like, what? But my StreamYard's perfect. My stream is that's all like weird stuff going on, everybody.
I wonder if that's part of the outage that's going on. Like things like that are happening.
Something.
Clerks, are you talking about at 34 Fairview? Because I don't think there is access to the basement from the garage.
All right. Let me explain this. This is how I see it. Okay. John's got say he's got an Apple Watch. Say he takes his phone with him. He's got his phone in his hand. Okay. The phone shows him up and down, up a flight of stairs and down a flight of stairs because there's a 10-foot difference from him, 10 feet up, not 3, 4, 5, 10. Complete second floor of the house. Right. So he walks in, he goes up one flight to the top, gets into a fight up the top of the stairs, fights down the stairs. He's in the foyer where he started now, still fighting. They opened the cellar door and they pushed them both down into the cellar where they could fight. So they were still fighting as they were going down the stairs, all the way down into the cellar. And John's phone shows that. Then the phone has to go up again for if it was in the cellar. But then they say something happened in the garage. Like, I don't understand why he would go in the garage. He would go to the front door. The front door was open and there was lights on. So light was coming through the front door. That door was closed. It was dark in that one. And the door went sideways into the garage there. He would go to the front door. Walk in the front door and the foyer's there. So up one, down, down.
So which door do you think he went in? Do you think he went in
The
the main
absolute,
house door?
yes, the absolute proper front door, the one on the left-hand side. Look at the blueprints of the house and the layout. When you go walk in, you can go upstairs or you can go downstairs. Downstairs is the cellar. I don't think he went in and meandered around. I think he heard music coming from upstairs where all the kids were drinking. He was going to an after party. Here's the noise, here's the music, because they're loud and rowdy, because they're teenage drunk kids
I
singing,
thought
doing
they were in
whatever.
the kitchen.
No, they all drink upstairs. Yeah, I mean, but why would he go in the garage?
Because honestly, what I think happened was when Karen dropped him off
Mm-hmm.
and John ran up to the house. For
He
some reason,
ran
I feel
because
like,
he didn't have a jacket on, so he ran because it was gonna snow out, right? So he ran,
yeah. So
and
he
he
ran up to
he's
the
a
house.
big dude,
She,
big strides
yep, she saw him go
up to the door.
up to the door, but I feel like he went in. He either so it was either he went into the garage by accident, Chloe was in there, or Higgins, Albert,
They bundled him in there.
they knew he was coming. Maybe they met him in the garage, or they were watching for him, and that's why everybody claims they didn't see him, is because he went straight in to the garage because they lured him into the garage. That's where he got the first punch when he
Yeah, but see, there you go. You can't. You don't know who threw what punch. Nobody knows that.
right, right.
So it couldn't have
Like he put his arm up to defend himself. The glass went into his face because he had the glass in his hand. And he felt
what.
I
Listen, what you're gonna see, okay?
it's so weird.
What you're gonna see that they didn't bring up, which I'm very shocked, and they didn't make a big point of this. The back of the John's hands, the back of them, the back sides of them, they're all bruised. Bruised. The back sides of his hands. Why are they bruised? He's defensive. Defensive
Right.
marks. You get hit on
Defending
the
himself.
right. That they didn't make like he had a boxer's fracture, which means when you punch somebody, this knuckle breaks and the knuckle gets sent right back, and you get a big bulge right here. It's called a boxer's fracture. Very easy. You don't even need to go to the doctors. You know it right away. He has one of them from punching somebody. So he got a serious, solid punch in. Now, how do we know he didn't punch the dog? Dog attacking him? You're gonna beat the dog off you, right? No, human nature. I love animals. I love animals, right? Dog attacks me, he's getting his ass beat, right?
Yeah.
Because that's
Yep.
right. You would do the same, right?
Yep.
There you go. So it's unreal. Again,
That's partially why
it's so
I
common sense. It's not even. Yeah, we're
that's
gonna find
partially why
out. We're gonna find out a lot in these lawsuits.
right.
Telling
But
you right now.
that's partially why I feel like he walked into the garage. Chloe and the guys were in the garage.
Mm-hmm.
He lifted his right arm to defend himself as
Mhm.
Chloe attacked him.
Chomped and chomped. Yep.
He lost his balance, fell back, cracked his head.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys didn't know what to do. Albert, he was in a sling shortly after that, wasn't he?
He had shoulder surgery, rotator cuff surgery.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. So, all right, let's get this document out of the way. It's 10:30. My goodness, what do you think's going to
Yeah.
happen? Listen, write the most absurd thing down that you can think of, because that may happen today.
No.
Clown's going to come out. Clown's going to come skydive, land out here. A clown. All right. Here we go, people. We are going to read this complaint from a Miss Karen Reed, who is suing Proctor, Yuri Buchanan, Brian Tully, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Jennifer McCabe, Matt McCabe, Ian Brian Higgins. Introduction. For 3.5 years, plaintiff Karen Reed was wrongly accused of homicide and subjected to suspicion, arrest, 2 prosecutions, and public condemnation, all resulting from the gross misconduct of the Massachusetts State Police and those working in tandem with the Massachusetts State Police to shield from liability the party or parties responsible for the death of a Boston police officer, John O'Keefe III. Now, After being acquitted of all charges relating to Mr. O'Keefe's death, Ms. Reed brings this action to recover for and address the actions of those actually involved in Mr. O'Keefe's death and the law enforcement officers who abjectly failed to endure that justice was sought and served in the aftermath of January 29th, 2022. All right. Massachusetts State Police and the town of Canton will be added as defendant after presentation is made pursuant to General Law 254-4. Plaintiff needs to move to consolidate this action with the related action, the estate of John O'Keefe versus Reed, et al. Civil action, related action for discovery and trial efficiencies. All right. 2. Karen Reed did not kill her then boyfriend, Mr. O'Keefe. Rather, in the early morning hours of January 29th, Mr. O'Keefe was killed in the defendant Brian and Nicole Albert's home at 34 Fairview Road in Canton house in an altercation during a late night house party with other defendants. Collectively, the house defendants after a night of heavy drinking, the house defendants responsible for Mr. O'Keefe's death, some of whom had professional experience with police investigations, concocted a plan immediately after the altercation to avoid culpability and to frame Karen Reed. Rather than call first responders for help, among other actions, the house defendants conducted a Google search for information about how long to die in the cold. Mr. O'Keefe's body's outside moved Mr. O'Keefe's body outside and placed him on the Albert's front lawn near the road to make it look like Mr. O'Keefe was hit by a vehicle and that he died in the snow without ever coming in the house that night. Mr. O'Keefe's body remained on the Albert's lawn until Karen Reed found him later in the morning. Well, think about that. That's why they put him where they put him, thinking that he was drunk and he got hit by a car and left there and no one knew, and it's hit and run that they never found until Karen Reed showed up. From the beginning, investigators from the Massachusetts State Police allowed the house defendants to direct the investigation away from themselves and towards Miss Reed. The house defendants are well connected in close social group with strong ties to law enforcement. The Alberts are a prominent family in Canton, and the investigating police officers knew them well. The lead investigator for the Massachusetts State Police, Michael Proctor, grew up in Canton and resides there to this day. He has been and remains close personal friends with the Albert family. I shouldn't have added that in. House defendant Brian Albert was a longtime Boston police officer, and House defendant Brian Higgins was an agent with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF. Adhering to the unwritten rule of protecting their own, Proctor and his MSP colleagues intentionally disregarded the obvious and compelling evidence tying the House defendants to Mr. O'Keefe's murder. Specifically, Mr. O'Keefe's injuries were consistent with a physical altercation. He had bruises and lacerations on his face, a deep gash to the back of his head, suggesting he was punched and fell backwards, hitting his head on a rigid surface. He also had dog bite wounds and scratches on his right arm and forearm. Equally evident, Mr. O'Keefe did not have a single injury consistent with being struck by a vehicle. He did not have any broken bones or even a bruise on his leg, feet, arms, shoulders, torso, back, ribs, or anywhere below his neck that a medical examiner would otherwise expect to find on a person struck and killed by an impact from a 3-ton vehicle. And to erase any doubt, the Commonwealth's own medical examiner, a pathologist who conducted the autopsy for the Commonwealth, concluded that Mr. O'Keefe's body showed no signs of a vehicular strike. Despite that, Proctor and others shielded the House defendants by intentionally sidestepping fundamental investigatory procedures. propelled by the House defendant's false statements, including that Mr. O'Keefe never went in the house. Proctor reported in text messages just hours into the investigation that the House defendants weren't going to get any shit for this because he, Brian Albert, a Boston cop, and that Proctor was determined to make the investigation cut and dry by bringing charges against the girl. Indeed, Proctor made his intentions clear in writing. Karen Reed had zero chance of skating. She's fucked. That pronouncement was a mere 16 hours after Mr. O'Keefe's body was discovered on the Albert's lawn, and Proctor had not even walked into the house. True to his promise, Proctor and his colleagues did not search the house for blood, evidence resulting from the gash to the back of Mr. O'Keefe's head, or for fingerprints, or for DNA evidence. Proctor did not search the house despite the fact that Mr. O'Keefe was discovered without a winter coat, without a hat that several witnesses said he had been wearing that night, and without his left shoe. At Proctor's direction, the house was never processed by a criminologist or even photographed. No member of the MSP, including Proctor, set foot inside 34 Fairview for nearly a week. Police did not examine or take evidence from the Albert's German Shepherd that was in the house January 29th, a dog that had a history of attacking other dogs and people. 7. Neither Proctor nor any of the MSP troopers conducted physical examinations of the house defendants for evidence of involvement in the altercation, such as marks on their hands, knuckles, face, bruises on their body. They did not seize or search the house defendants' phones. They conducted only perfunctory, unrecorded conversations with Proctor's friends and acquaintances without any attempt to corroborate the stories. They permitted would-be witnesses to communicate with each other and coordinate their stories before any formal interviews. They allowed critical evidence to be manipulated in some instances and outright destroyed in others. In short, by focusing the investigation solely on Mrs. Reed, as implicitly directed by the House defendants through the misrepresentations they made to police, Proctor and his colleagues disregarded and failed to obtain pertinent interviews and other critical evidence from the House defendants that cannot now be recovered or recreated. Proctor also secretly communicated with the Alberts on his personal phone, deliberately back-channeling those communications to circumvent his state-issued device, and used his sister as a conduit. For instance, on multiple occasions, Proctor disclosed critical and confidential information about the investigation to his sister, who passed that information to her close friend Julie Albert, Brian Albert's sister-in-law. Julie Albert then passed that same information on to the rest of her family and the House defendants. Part of these communications included Julie Albert's promise to buy Proctor a thank you gift for handling this investigation in a manner that intentionally avoided implicating the House defendants and singularly focused on Mrs. Reed. Time out. A gift for doing his job?
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't he need a gift for doing his job? That's like overtime. Hello.
What do you think they gave him for popping Aiden? What do you think they got for that one? Flat
Oh, he
screen
got more than-
TV? They got a TV for that one?
He got more than a sectional, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt, huh? Imagine that, buying a cop a present for doing his job.
Right. But he didn't do his job. He did it completely wrong. That's the problem.
Wow.
So he got a gift for lying and doing everything wrong
Yeah.
versus doing what he was actually supposed to do.
Yeah.
Loser.
And it's all right. Where we go? It's gonna get bad, guys. Far from conducting an objective investigation with integrity, Proctor personally sexualized and dehumanized Mrs. Reed throughout the investigation. Specifically, Proctor's private communications to his high school buddies, sister, and MSP colleagues that he believed would never be discovered exposed the corruption and bias at the core of the MSP's entire investigation. Specifically, only hours into the investigation, in a text chain with 8 of his high school buddies, Proctor stated that Mrs. Reed is a whack job bum, retarded, a nutbag, and a babe with no ass. Proctor further ridiculed and deriddled Mrs. Reed for her serious medical condition, stating that her balloon not blank. In other private text messages to his MSP supervisors and colleagues, Proctor bragged while conducting a search of Mrs. Reed's phone as he was looking for naked pictures of Mrs. Reed. Disappointed, he reported that there were no nudes so far. In an unfiltered utterance, Proctor revealed his true mindset. Hopefully, she kills herself. 11. Indeed, Proctor's supervisors and the MSP knew about and condoned Proctor's unlawful conduct, and in some instances expressly encouraged this flagrant abuse of power. For example, on one occasion, Proctor's immediate supervisor, Yuri Buchanan, responded with thumbs up emoji to a text calling Mrs. Reed retarded. Proctor's supervisors in the MSP knew Proctor had a close relationship with the Alberts and that he made no secret of this bias against Mrs. Reed, demonstrating a clear prejudice against her from the outset. 12. Relying on manufactured evidence, actively ignoring exculpatory evidence, like the guy's cameras directly across the street, they never went and knocked on his door. Deputy chief of the town that you're standing in. And without investigating obvious signs pointing toward House defendants, the Commonwealth secured 2 separate arrest warrants for Mrs. Reed and knowingly baseless indictment against her, and then wrongly prosecuted her for murder twice. As alleged below, these unlawful acts not only under plaintiff's meritless wrongful death claim against Mrs. Reed, but also they form the foundation for Mrs. Reed's claim against the defendants. These acts violated Mrs. Reed's state and federal constitutional rights and Massachusetts Civil Rights Act and the well-established Massachusetts tort principles. Tort principles are like law cases that have already been filed and won and adjudicated, so you don't need to do it again. On June 18th, 2025, after a 2-month trial, a jury rejected the Commonwealth's theory, in part because the overwhelming physical, scientific, and medical evidence established that Mrs. Reed's vehicle did not strike Mr. O'Keefe, and that Mr. O'Keefe's injuries did not come from a vehicle strike. Although Mrs. Reed was ultimately and finally acquitted of all charges related to the death of Mr. O'Keefe, Proctor was fired, and nearly every MSP officer in Proctor's chain of command was disciplined for their erroneous abuses and misdeeds. The Commonwealth still has not sought to or provided justice, not to the O'Keefe family, not to the community at large, and certainly not to Mrs. Reed. 14. In response to the Commonwealth has offered only empty platitudes instead of solutions. Oh, I love that. The head of MSP, Colonel Jeffrey Noble, stated, "The events of the last 3 years have challenged our department to thoroughly review our actions and take concrete steps to deliver advanced investigative training, ensure appropriate oversight, and enhance accountability. Under my direction as Colonel, the state police has and will continue to improve in these regards." Good luck with that. In an interview with the Boston Herald, Noble acknowledged the systematic nature of the MSP's conduct in related to Mrs. Reed's case. I'm eyes wide open to a culture issue that I have concerns with as it relates to Trooper Proctor. These hollow words do nothing to right the devastating wrongs that have been visited on Mrs. Reed. Colonel Noble's words confess a sickness deep in the marrow of the MSP, but offer no remedy, no medicine, no relief to someone so brutally victimized by it. Whoa, I love that. These hollow words do nothing to right the devastating wrongs that have been visited on Mrs. Reed. Colonel Noble's words confess a sickness deep in the marrow of the MSP, but offer no remedy, no medicine, no relief to someone so brutally victimized by it. 15. On Wednesday, March 19th, 2025, following the public disclosure of Proctor's illegal and unethical conduct related to the Reed investigation, the MSP's trial board found Michael Proctor guilty of a Class A violation, which included that he was biased in his dealings with a homicide suspect and or brought otherwise himself and the Massachusetts State Police into disrepute. 16. Mrs. Reed's life was not merely turned upside down by the MSP's and the House defendant's misconduct, it was forever changed by the defendant's transgressions and wrongdoing. The years of uncertainty and an unimaginable emotional distress have left lasting scars that will never heal. At the same time, neither Mr. O'Keefe nor his family have received justice. His killer or killers still walk free. By asserting her claims against MSP, Proctor, his supervisors, the town of Canton, and the House defendants, Mrs. Reed seeks, at minimum, to confront and redress these wrongdoings and others. More importantly, she seeks to force the Commonwealth to fulfill its duty to stop law enforcement from trampling the innocent to protect their own. 2. Parties. Number 3. 17. Plaintiff Karen Reed is an individual residing in North Dayton, Massachusetts. 18. Defendant Michael Proctor is a former Massachusetts State Police trooper residing in Canton, Massachusetts. He is being sued in his personal capacity. Defendant Yuri Buchanan is a Massachusetts State Police trooper residing in Stoughton, Massachusetts. He is being sued in his personal capacity. Defendant Lieutenant Brian Tully is a Massachusetts State Police trooper residing in Hingham, Mass. He is being sued in his personal capacity. Defendant Brian Albert is an individual residing in Norwood, Massachusetts. Nicole Albert, an individual residing in Norwood. Jennifer McCabe residing in Canton. Matt McCabe in Canton. Brian Higgins residing in Sandwich. Jurisdiction and venue. The court has jurisdiction over all claims in this case pursuant to General Law, Chapter 12, Section 1, Chapter I. And with regard to federal claims pursuant to Resnick versus Chief of Police, 374, Mass. 475, 484, number 8, 1978. Venue is appropriate in this court pursuant to the general law. At least one party to this case, plaintiff Karen Reed, resides in Bristol County. 3. As stated above, MSP will be added as a new party by amendment once the applicable persistment period expires. Facts to all counts. Mr. O'Keefe's death. Before his death, Mr. O'Keefe and Mrs. Reed were dating. On the evening of January 28th, Mr. O'Keefe and Mrs. Reed went out for the night. They first went to C.F. McCarthy's in Canton, where they had several drinks. They then went to the Waterfall Bar in Canton. 30. They met up with a group of acquaintances, including Brian Albert, his wife, Nicole Albert, Brian's brother, Chris Albert, and his wife, Julie, Jen McCabe, Nicole's sister, and Brian's sister-in-law, her husband, Matt McCabe, and Brian Higgins. The group of acquaintances had several drinks and planned to continue the party back at the Alberts home in Canton at 34 Fairview Road, the house. Defendant Jen McCabe told John O'Keefe that he should come to the house. She did. Jen McCabe told John O'Keefe that he should come to the house. 31. The group had overlapping social relationships. At the time, Brian Albert was a Boston police officer, and so was Mr. O'Keefe. Although they did not know each other well, Brian Albert and Brian Higgins were close friends. Higgins was an officer with the ATF. He was also permitted to keep an office at the Canton Police Department alongside Brian Albert's brother, Canton Police Detective Brian Albert. Brian Albert had a professional and social relationship with Michael Proctor. Brian and Nicole's son, Brian Albert Jr., and his friends were already at the house for Brian Jr.'s birthday. In addition, Colin Albert, Brian Albert's nephew, was present. Yeah, what's up?
Brian Welsh is back on. I think I missed some of it. She's talking about jury selection.
Got it. Yeah.
Of 1 and 2 p.m. There may be a day here or there, typically on a Friday, that we might suspend early depending on the pace of the case.
Get back news. You got the reins.
Do you want to
When the
rewind
jury
it or you want to
begins
keep it
its
live?
deliberations, the jury will deliberate from the period of 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And again, we set no pace for the deliberations. The jury takes the time it needs to decide its case. Before we begin selecting jurors, I want to briefly explain some important legal rules that the jury must follow. And at the end of the trial, I'll give you more detailed instructions on the legal rules that apply in this case. Let me start by teaching you about the presumption of innocence and proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Every person who is accused of a crime is presumed to be innocent of that crime. Mr. Walsh is presumed innocent of the charge in this case. That means the jury must consider Mr. Walsh to be innocent at the beginning of the trial and must still consider him to be innocent at the end of the trial, unless the prosecution proves beyond a reasonable doubt through evidence presented during the trial that Mr. Walsh committed the crime charged. The fact that the Commonwealth has charged Mr. Walsh with this crime through an indictment and that he is now standing trial is not evidence. And it's not relevant to whether the defendant is guilty or he is not. An indictment is not evidence whatsoever that the defendant is guilty of any crime. An indictment is merely a formal accusation that the defendant may have committed a crime in order that he or she may be brought to court for a trial before a judge and a jury. It is that jury that is to be selected from among your number, and that jury alone, which must decide whether the Commonwealth has proved the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of the offense that has been alleged. Again, based on the evidence and the law that is presented during the trial of this case. The defendant does not need to do anything to convince you that he is innocent. He doesn't have to explain anything to the jury. He doesn't have to testify, call or question any witnesses, or provide any evidence at all, because you must presume he is innocent. Instead, the Commonwealth has to prove the charge against Mr. Walsh beyond a reasonable doubt. If you serve on this jury at the end of the trial, you may not find the defendant guilty of the crime charged unless the prosecution convinces you beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Walsh committed that crime. If you are left with a reasonable doubt of Mr. Walsh's guilt on the charge, then your verdict must be not guilty on the charge. Now let me turn to some important rules that you must follow during our jury selection process, and in fact, until your jury service is over. It's
Do you
important
guys
that you
in
keep
chat
an
want to
open
keep
mind
watching
about
this,
this
or do you
case.
want to watch
Do not
Tom read?
discuss this case or the questions we ask during our jury selection process with any other potential juror or with anyone else. Do not send any electronic communications or posts. In fact, you should be well informed by now that your phones should be off. And if they're not, make sure they are. Do not look up anything on any device to include your phone. Don't do any research about jury selection or about the case or the people involved in the case. If you are chosen to serve on the jury, you may tell people that you are serving on a jury here in Norfolk Superior Court, and you may give them the trial schedule and how long your jury service is likely to last. But you must not tell them anything else about the case until the trial is over and the jury has reached its verdict. Let me next talk about the jury selection process. When the lawyers and I ask you questions, and many of them are going to come in a written questionnaire, but then you'll come back into the courtroom and have individual questions asked of you. We're not trying to pry or make you feel uncomfortable. Instead, we ask you these questions to determine whether you're able to serve as that fair and impartial juror, whether you have a reason to favor one side or the other, and whether you're confident that you can decide this case based only on the evidence that will be presented during the trial and the legal instructions I teach to you. It's very important that those of you who are chosen to serve on this jury be able to commit yourselves to deciding this case, again, based only on the evidence you hear or see in this courtroom, and not on anything else, such as your personal experiences or the experiences of someone that's close to you that you might know about. It's also very important that those of you who serve on this jury not allow the nature of the allegations in this case to make you lose sight of the question that the jury must decide, which is whether the Commonwealth has or has not proved beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant committed the crime charged in this case. I will instruct you that the jury must decide this case based only on their evaluation of the evidence presented at trial, and that they may not base their verdict on anything that wasn't admitted into evidence, and also may not decide this case based on sympathy, prejudice, anger, or any other emotion. All jurors must be able to commit to following these instructions so that they can be fair and impartial and decide this case based only on the evidence we hear and see in the trial. If we do not choose you to serve on the jury, please don't be offended. Sometimes a person who could be a fair juror in one case might have difficulty being fair in another. For example, a potential juror who knows someone involved in a case or has a personal experience that is very similar to the issue raised in a case might have difficulty being completely fair to both sides. So please keep these thoughts in mind as you answer both the written and the oral questions. So jurors, I remind you that there are no right or wrong answers to any of the questions on the questionnaires. And in a moment, the court officers are going to hand out those questionnaires, and I will give you an opportunity, some time to fill out those questionnaires. When you finished filling out the questionnaire, fold it in half and put it somewhere safe. Don't show it to anyone else. Don't share the questions or your thoughts about anything in the questionnaire with anyone else. Doing this questionnaire and answering our questions is a solitary experience. You and you alone. When you safeguard the questionnaire, at some point during the day, you're going to be brought back up to, you're going to be moved to a different courtroom, and you're going to be brought back in
All right.
smaller groups to go through the individual.
All right. So we can stop that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. They're just doing Jerry stuff now, right? So that's not,
Yeah. We've heard
we're
all
not going to
that.
learn anything from that, right? So we're going to learn something from this. All right. Fresh coffee. And I ended up with a bonus. I got a kitty who's purring. Right, my good girl. All right. Back to reading. 32. Brian and Nicole Albert's son, Brian Albert Jr., and his friends were already present at the house for Brian Jr.'s birthday. In addition, Colin Albert, Brian Albert's nephew, was present. That means Colin was in the house. That's exactly what that means. Colin was in the house, present. 33. Mrs. Reed and Mr. O'Keefe had never been to the house before January 29th, 2022. They arrived in front of the Alberts' home around 12:20 a.m. Mrs. Reed was reluctant to attend the party for several reasons, including that she was unsure whether they were at the correct location and whether they were even welcome to the late night party. Mr. O'Keefe got out of Mrs. Reed's SUV and indicated that he would check out the party and report back to her. Mr. O'Keefe walked toward the front door / garage door area of the house and entered one of the two doors. A period of time passed without any word from Mr. O'Keefe, who was still hesitant to join, presumed that Mr. O'Keefe intended to stay, and therefore she left to go home without him. She went back to his house, by the way. 34. At some point after entering the house garage, Mr. O'Keefe was involved in a physical altercation either inside the house or garage. During that altercation, the Albert's German Shepherd attacked him, and Mr. O'Keefe sustained multiple bites and scratches on his right arm. He also suffered an incapacitating cornucopia wound to the back of his head. Mr. O'Keefe's head wound was caused by falling backward and striking a rigid surface. The Albert's garage contains such surfaces. By contrast, the head wound could not have been caused by a vehicle striking or falling backwards onto a flat, cold lawn like the Alberts. Because of their knowledge of criminal investigations, the Alberts, the McCabe's, and Higgins, house defendants, knew that calling for medical care to help save Mr. O'Keefe's life would trigger immediate and irreversible risk of their own criminal exposure. Therefore, at least 5 of them agreed on a simple plan to exonerate themselves and implicate Mrs. Reed. They would tell anyone who inquired Mr. O'Keefe never entered the house and hide evidence that he was there, including his body. Sometime during the night, they repositioned a Ford Edge vehicle at a spot adjacent to the front lawn, which obscured the view of that area of the lawn from potential passerbys. At some point further in the night, they carried or dragged Mr. O'Keefe's body to that same area in the yard, close to where one or more of them later claimed Mrs. Reed dropped him off earlier that night. The plan devised to make it appear that Mr. O'Keefe had been struck by a Mrs. Reed vehicle and then died as a result of exposure to the cold. 37. Mr. O'Keefe was either dead when the house defendants left him on the Alberts lawn or died shortly thereafter. 38. After the physical altercation, Higgins left the house and drove to the Canton Police Department in the middle of the night. Save my plant again. Hold on a second. I gotta move it.
Are the kitties messing with it?
What? Come here. There you go. Now you're happy.
Don't sit on the kitty.
Yeah.
It was just under your butt.
I'm merely just a roommate now to these guys. They've taken me over. This one here, she's trouble. This one. I see you. If I bend over, she jumps on my back. Not a good thing.
They're so cute.
All right. All right. He later told investigators he had to do some administrative work, but then changed his story subsequently, stating that he drove to the station because he had to move cars in the parking lot due to the snowstorm. However, video from inside the station shows Higgins walking down the hallway and surreptitiously entering offices while wearing a hoodie to obscure his face. Surveillance video outside reveals Higgins transporting a large bag from one vehicle to another before driving away. After leaving the police station, Higgins and Albert continued to coordinate their stories by calling each other multiple times in the early morning hours and ultimately spoke. Oh my God. Can you see this?
Yeah.
I have one on my shoulder and one behind me. And they're trying oh my
They're
God.
not kitties, they're monkeys.
They're like trying to push me out. Hey.
Are they trying to eat your earphones?
No, just a chair. Yeah. Yesterday, I gave him a whole bunch of cat. I gave him a whole bunch of catnip yesterday. And then I pulled the laser out and I made him run into the wall. It was beautiful. Bang.
This is gonna sound really bad, but you got quite the pussies around you, Tom.
Yeah. Sticking. Oh my goodness. All right. After
Sorry, I
leaving
had
the police station, Higgin and Albert continued to coordinate the stories by calling each other multiple times in the early morning hours and ultimately spoke with each other on their cell phones at 2:22 a.m. Later, both Brian Albert and Higgins denied the existence of these phone calls. And then, when confronted by their existence by a separate law enforcement agency, non MSP, non CPD law enforcement agency, at a separate proceeding, they coordinated the exact same lie, falsely claiming multiple calls and answers were just butt dials. However, 5 minutes after Higgins' Albert call, Mrs. McCabe performed a Google search on her phone at 2:27 a.m. How long to die in the cold, misspelling the first word. Mrs. Reed searches for Mr. O'Keefe. Mrs. Reed, 40. Hold on, let me take a sip here. Okay. 40. Mrs. Reed began the search for Mr. O'Keefe on January 29th, just before 5 a.m., when she awoke and realized he had not returned home. She phoned House Defendant Jennifer McCabe, who already knew exactly what happened to Mr. O'Keefe. Mrs. McCabe insisted that Mrs. Reed drive to McCabe's house rather than to drive to 34 Fairview Road, which Reed did. Sorry. The two of them were then joined by Kerry Roberts, and the three of them left the McCabe residence. However, rather than go to 34 Fairview, oddly, Mrs. McCabe directed them to go back to Mr. O'Keefe's home, where Mrs. Reed had just come from. After the three of them had finally drove to 34 Fairview, the illogical Mrs. McCabe directed the route to 34 Fairview was intentional. It allowed the House defendants more time to finish creating the scene and hiding evidence before Mr. O'Keefe's body was discovered on the Alberts lawn and first responders arrived. 41. As they approached the house with Mrs. Roberts driving, Mrs. Reed saw Mr. O'Keefe almost immediately. She screamed for Mrs. Roberts to stop the vehicle, jumped out from the moving car to run to Mr. O'Keefe. She began rendering aid, including CPR. As the House defendants had planned, Mr. O'Keefe's body was discovered in front of the Alberts house near a flagpole and fire hydrant on the left side of the Alberts property, as seen from the roadside. The Ford Edge, which had been parked in a position to obscure Mr. O'Keefe's body in the middle of the night, had been moved. Yeah, who drives a Ford Edge? While Mrs. Roberts joined Mrs. Reed with administering CPR, Mrs. McCabe did not help or even approach Mr. O'Keefe. Rather, she sat in the cab of the vehicle, called 911, and reported there's a man passed out in the snow. despite knowing that her brother-in-law, Brian Albert, a police officer and first responder, was just feet away from inside the house. Yeah, she didn't call him and say, "Hey, Brian, come out and help me." It's weird. Mrs. McCabe never went into the house or requested the Albert come down to help Mr. O'Keefe. Rather, as Mr. O'Keefe lay dying in the snow, Mrs. McCabe stood and watched with no fear, urgency, or even concern for her family members residing mere feet away. So true. 43. The CPD were the first ones on the scene shortly after 6 a.m. At the time, there was no evidence that Mr. O'Keefe had been hit by a vehicle. In fact, the evidence suggested just the opposite. His body did not show signs of trauma commonly associated with being struck by a car. There were no bone fractures or trauma to his lower body or his torso or any other part of his body, as investigators would expect from a vehicle strike. Rather, Mr. O'Keefe's injuries were consistent with being physically assaulted to the face and head and attacked by a dog. For good reason, the ranking CPD officer at the scene, Sergeant Michael Lank, opined on a telephone call captured on a dash cam that Mr. O'Keefe looked like he had been in a fight. Think about that for a second. They mentioned that. Wow. 44. Moreover, the initial search conducted by Canton police officers revealed that there was no vehicle debris on the lawn at 34 Fairview, let alone any debris at or near Mr. O'Keefe's body. Not a single piece of taillight material was discovered on the lawn that morning or in the roadway, notwithstanding multiple searches and the use of a leaf blower to remove snow.
Even the shoe was not spotted that morning, even though everybody was right up next to that curb. Weird.
Size 13 too, man. That's a big
Right.
shoe. I mean,
I know.
like I'd trip over it.
My son, two
Oh.
of my kids were a size 13, and I'm not kidding you. They leave that in the middle of the floor, and if I'm like distracted by watching something on my phone or
Yeah.
messaging and I don't see it, I am tripping.
Done. Yeah. How do they miss that?
Right.
Sergeant Lank was a longtime friend of the Alberts and the first law enforcement officer to enter the house. He spoke to the Alberts and the McCabes. Pursuant to their plan, the Alberts and McCabes told Sergeant Lank that Mr. O'Keefe had never entered the Alberts' house the night before. The Alberts and McCabe's statements were false. Mr. O'Keefe arrived and entered the house or garage where he was assaulted, attacked by the Alberts dog, and suffered a fatal injury to the back of his head. 47. Despite Mr. O'Keefe's injuries being wholly inconsistent with the story of the house defendants were now telling him, neither Sergeant Lank nor any other member of the CPD searched the house to determine whether the occupants or anyone else were involved in Mr. O'Keefe's death. Nor did they request to search the occupants' cell phones, observe their bodies for evidence of a fight, or even secure the scene where the body was found. They failed to do so because of bias born of friendship and loyalty in favor of the Alberts and McCabes. 48. After Sergeant Lank returned to CPD 3 hours after the discovery of Mr. O'Keefe's body, in more than 2 hours after being interviewed at the Alberts home that morning, Mrs. McCabe called Sergeant Lank to report that she recalled additional information as part of the plan to implicate Mrs. Reed and remove suspicion from the house defendants. She falsely told Sergeant Lank that Mrs. Reed told her twice that morning, "I hope I didn't hit him." More than a year. At a separate proceeding, Mrs. McCabe changed her story on this topic yet again. In furtherance of the house defendant's plan, Jen McCabe, then falsely reported that Mrs. Reed outright confessed to hitting Mr. O'Keefe right after she first found him in the snow. Ha! Good luck with that one. She's got to prove that happened, and the video proves Karen's right. 100% Karen's right.
Right. Watch
The
out,
video,
Miss
the video
McCabe.
prove the dash cam proves what Karen said to be true.
Yep. I think McCabe totally forgot that there was dash cam video and
Yeah.
audio. The ice cream truck is coming for her.
Yep. Proctor leads MSP investigation despite the conflicts. Michael Proctor was assigned as a case officer and had a primary responsibility for the MSP investigation of Mr. O'Keefe's death. Sergeant Yuri Buchanan was Proctor's direct supervisor, and Lieutenant Brian Tully was a supervisory officer at the Norfolk County State Police Detective Unit, and thus supervised both Buchanan and Proctor in their roles. Buchanan and Tully both knew at all times exactly the extent of Proctor's misconduct in investigating Mr. O'Keefe's death as described below. Wow. From the beginning, Proctor should never have been assigned as an investigating officer, let alone lead investigator. He grew up and resides in Canton, is a good friend of the Alberts, and had known the family for years. Proctor and Julie Albert, Brian Albert's sister-in-law, had each other's personal cell phone numbers. In fact, just days before Mr. O'Keefe's death, Proctor communicated with Julie Albert about babysitting Proctor's minor child. Proctor's sister, Courtney, was also a close friend of Julie. In fact, Proctor's own mother referred to the Alberts as the Proctor's second family. The existence of this relationship was intentionally suppressed by Proctor and other members of the MSP, including Buchanan and Tully, in an effort to ensure the House defendants were protected and that Mrs. Reed's right to a fair investigation trial were undermined. Proctor, Buchanan, and Tully engaged in a corrupt and biased investigation by not investigating inside the House and interviewing House defendants as friends rather than suspects. Proctor, Buchanan, Tully, and MSP never searched for DNA evidence inside the House, never looked for rigid surfaces that could have caused the gash in the back of O'Keefe's head, never inspected the House defendants' bodies for indication of bruises or cuts that resulted in an altercation, and did not search the House defendants' cell phones. This allowed potential evidence to be destroyed, disposed of, removed, or simply become unrecoverable. That's just like Brian Higgins, who took his cell phone, took it apart, took the SIM card out, and then cut the SIM card. And this is all after he physically took the phone to the FBI place and deleted a bunch of data. So he deleted a bunch of stuff, then took it to the military base, then took it apart, then cut the SIM card in half after he had already just deleted conversations and stuff. Nice guy.
I don't get how they all got away with destroying their phones. I don't get that. Especially after they knew that they were supposed to not touch their phones. They were supposed to turn them in.
Yep. But yet, here we are. 52. Proctor's, Buchanan's, and Tully's interviews of the House defendants were also outside of normal protocol. They were all interviewed either at their home, their family member's home, their lawyer's home, in the case of Brian Higgins, their lawyer's office, in case of Brian Jr. and Caitlin Albert, at their place of employment or over the phone. These interviews were each untimely, unrecorded, and fundamentally designed to protect the House defendants, and the House defendants took full advantage of it. Specifically, Jennifer McCabe became the point person for the House defendants in providing their false narrative to investigators. She managed to communicated details about the House defendants' messaging and the investigation itself, including visiting Proctor's and other investigators' private residences, mapping out timelines to coordinate their statements with other witnesses, leading group text message chains that were partially deleted, and planning private meetings at all hours of the day and night. Ooh. Indeed, these were never acts of innocent witnesses seeking to help an investigation concerning the death of an alleged friend. Rather, as they were predicate acts of a conspiracy among a group of people with a shared goal of deflecting their criminal exposure onto someone else. 54. Yeah.
Gail says she can hear you double for some reason. I don't know if it's still happening. I don't hear it.
Does that sound better, Gail? Is it better now? Because the kitty cat may have stepped on a button on my control. I hope I'm not double now. Double.
I never heard it, so I don't know.
Yeah,
We need people to start chatting more in chat. Come on, peeps. Where
Yeah.
are you?
Kirk's is right. She's absolutely right. They're expecting Garino, right? Think of what Garino has for information. He's got all Sandra Birchmore stuff, all her texts, all between all the cops that she had. Because she wasn't just doing one of them, she was doing a couple of them. Obviously, because she's pregnant with someone else's child. Wasn't Farwell's, right? So that's just bizarre. These people, I don't know, they're just.
They
Check
think
this
they're
out.
smart, but they're
Yeah.
really not.
This is beautiful. The remaining group texts that were not deleted or that were recovered later reveal some of their planning. For instance, on the evening of January 29th, Jen McCabe texted with her sister, Nicole Albert, that Kerry Roberts, who was present when Mr. O'Keefe's body was found, talked to cops and kept it simple. Of course, there'd be no reason to report back to other House defendants about Roberts keeping it simple, unless what really happened was more complicated. Proctor, Buchanan, and MSP never sought these communications. Rather, they were obtained by Karen Reed's defense attorneys, repeated motions to compel access to data on Mrs. McCabe's iPhone. Later, in group texts with Jen McCabe and Brian and Nicole Albert, Matthew McCabe suggested leaving Chris Albert publicize their crafted story to a reporter, saying, ask Chris to ask some questions. Tell them the guy never went in the house. As an endorsement of the plan, Brian Albert responded, exactly. Importantly, the text messages from the House defendants' phones that were ultimately recovered and provide a window into their conspiracy and misconduct, as well as MSP's unlawful investigation, were not the product of CPD or MSP's investigative work. Rather, based on media reports raising serious questions about the MSP's investigation and the House defendants' role in Mr. O'Keefe's death. Another separate law enforcement agency began its own subsequent investigation. That investigation, and not the MSP's, resulted in obtaining the House defendants' phones, taking statements from the House defendants, and conducting a separate proceeding, all of which the MSP refused to do itself. Indeed, the evidence procured by the separate law enforcement agency's investigation demonstrates the House defendants' conspiracy and unlawful conduct, as well as MSP's bias and corruption. Yep. And again, this wasn't their first rodeo either.
Can we say bye-bye, Mick Alberts?
Yep. I hope they tie them back to Sandra.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
I thought she babysat for Jen. I don't know.
I heard that too.
That's what I heard. Imagine that. 57. Proctor and Buchanan initially interviewed the McCabes and Brian Albert on January 29th at the McCabes' home at 12 Country Lane in Canton, at which time they again falsely stated that Mr. O'Keefe never entered the Alberts' home. Buchanan and Proctor did not interview Nicole Albert and Brian Higgins until February 3rd, 2022, and did not interview Chris and Julie Albert until February 10th. nearly 2 weeks after Mr. O'Keefe's death and more than a week after Mrs. Reed was arrested and charged, both before interviews. The McCabe's and Alberts continued to coordinate the stories as evidence in group texts. 58. Proctor, Buchanan, and Tully likewise failed to conduct a meaningful investigation into Higgins' involvement. When Proctor and Buchanan interviewed Higgins on February 3rd, Higgins represented the troopers with a select set of curated texts between himself and Mrs. Reed. They learned that Higgins and Mrs. Reed had been exchanging flirtatious texts and that Higgins reported at least one instance in which Mrs. Reed and Higgins had kissed while at Mr. O'Keefe's house mere weeks before his death. Rather than pursuing Higgins as a possible suspect, Proctor, Buchanan, and Tully neglected to investigate the matter any further. They never interviewed Higgins again, even after surveillance video revealed Higgins was suspiciously hiding his face in the halls in the parking lot of CPD at 1:30 a.m. on January 29th. The video contradicts Higgins' statements about his actions that night. However, not only did Proctor, Buchanan, Tully, and MSP not investigate what Higgins was doing or what was in the bag, but they went so far as to hide the video from Karen Reed and her criminal defense attorneys for years. Reed's defense did not receive these videos until after Reed stood trial for the first time, and even after the separate law enforcement agency's investigation revealed late-night phone calls between Brian Albert and Brian Higgins. MSP failed to pursue either witnesses further or seek full forensic extraction of Higgins' phone or even a simple call log from a cellular provider. You can destroy the phone call. You can't destroy what the phone did. 60. When it was revealed that Mrs. Reed's defense team requested the preservation of Brian Albert and Brian Higgins' phones in order to forensically image them, this request was allowed by the court. Both men got rid of their phones within days of another. Higgins went so far as to drive to a military base on Cape Cod, remove the SIM card from the phone, cut the SIM card with scissors he brought with him, and destroy and dispose of the phone and card separately in 2 dumpsters, then drive back home. The destruction of their phones eliminated potentially incriminating communications between them and was a direct result of Proctor, Buchanan, and Tully's intentional refusal to collect important investigative evidence that would be exculpatory to Mrs. Reed. Even after learning about the destruction of both witnesses' cell phones, MSP investigators had other avenues they could have used to pursue evidence, such as cellular toll records or simply interviewing Brian Higgins and Brian Albert to find the Inquirer about the nature of the late-night communications. They intentionally ignored these avenues as well. 60. Not only did Proctor fail to probe his friends' stories, he coordinated with them through his sister. Proctor spoke to Courtney multiple times a day and knew she was in close contact with and providing information to Julie Albert. Julie and Courtney called each other many times between February 1st and 2nd and at least 67 times between February 1st and September 6th. For example, as he prepared to question Chris and Julie Albert on February 10th, Proctor told his sister Courtney that the interview was not a big deal. Courtney told Proctor that Julie Albert had been nervous and wanted to give him a thank you gift after the interview. To avoid scrutiny, Proctor instructed Courtney to tell Julie to give the gift to his wife, Elizabeth Proctor. Proctor shared investigatory details with Courtney before they were public. In the same instance referenced above, when his sister informed him that Julie Albert had been so nervous before the interview. Instead of investigating further, he shrugged it off, laughed, and asked why. But Proctor knew,
Sorry to cut you off, but the only reason I can think that Julie got Proctor a gift is because he was protecting her son, Colin,
Absolutely. Yep.
or even protecting her husband, Chris. she didn't want her family tore apart because of it.
Supposedly, Chris wasn't there, but yet the reports say that they were. And if that's the case, how did he get there? He couldn't have walked. So who
Right.
gave her? He said he walked home. So what's up with that? He lied.
Well, and Julie said she had left early because she had a migraine, and then she was going to go back. I thought she said this, that she was going to go back and pick up Chris, but then decided not to. So did she really go back to pick up Chris? And then they went over?
I got nothing. I don't have anything on that. But you're right about that. Right. Divine called Sandra that morning, and yet he denied contacting her. He claimed he hadn't seen her in years, but then
Right.
admits to seeing her once a week in a car park while on duty, and then claims he was hacked.
Yep. All a bunch of liars.
There he
Hi,
is.
Dave's channel.
What's up, big guy? Oh, there's a lot here, girl. We're not even halfway through, man. 63. Oh,
What page are we on?
my God. Oh, 120.
We got a long ways to go.
Wow. Wow. I mean, a lot of this is kind of like we know this.
Right.
It's the criminal proceedings were instituted with malice, as evidenced by Proctor Buchanan and Tully's knowledge that it was based on false evidence. Proctor Buchanan and Tully's bias and ill will toward Mrs. Reed, and for the improper purpose to protect Proctor's friends and acquaintances, the Alberts. So, I mean, they're telling it how and why. You know? There's a lot here. She lost her job because of this, and so that's part of that. As an approximate result of the defendant's actions, Mrs. Reed was wrongfully prosecuted for Mr. O'Keefe's death, resulting in the loss of employment, reputational damages, and millions of dollars of legal expenses, as well as serious emotional distress and injury. And then this is all the injury, like you cause injury by this. Like this, they say he didn't go in the house. They're bringing it back up.
Yeah. I can't wait, kind of like this civil trial that's going on. I really can't wait to see what they actually all bring out.
They're gonna go through every one of these right here. Judgment in favor, award damages to be calculated at trial, along with pre and post judgment interest, costs, and expenses. Award her reasonable attorney's fees incurred with connection with this litigation. Grant her such relief as the court deems equitable and just. And there's the lawyers that put this together. Like, that's a lot of people to put this together. Six people.
Look at all them. Holy Hannahs.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's this law firm and this law firm. Sheehan, Finney, Base, and Green, 28 State Street. There you go. I know that place. And this is Alan Jackson's law firm. So you have a Los Angeles law firm and a Boston law firm working on this case. And you have 172 counts.
I just, like what I was saying, I can't wait to see like the evidence that they're going to be presenting during the civil trial. Like stuff that we have never seen before.
Right. That's the Google search. It's about John's phone. Remember the phone? We didn't know where the phone was, going here and there.
Yep.
169. It's about the phone. Following Mr. O'Keefe's death, among other acts, the McCabe's and Alberts agreed to make it look like Mr. O'Keefe died due to exposure after being hit by Mrs. Reed's car. As part of this common plan, Brian, Albert, and Higgins, both law enforcement officers familiar with investigations, communicated at 2:22 a.m. on January 29th after Higgins left the house. Shortly thereafter, as part of the plan, Jen McCabe deleted a Google search at 2:27 a.m. on January 29th for how long it takes a person to die in the cold. One or more of them then relocated Mr. O'Keefe's body and deposited it on the front lawn of the Alberts house, where Jen McCabe claimed Mrs. Reed had dropped off Mr. O'Keefe earlier. The McCabe's and Alberts then coordinated what they would say to the police, all of them falsely telling investigators that Mr. O'Keefe never entered the house. Yeah. I mean, everybody that was in the house got a new phone the next day.
Say bye-bye, McAlberts. The
Yep.
ice cream truck's coming to you
My. All
I'm
right.
fighting with Dave's channel in chat right now. He said I have
Oh.
a Minnesota accent. I do not.
Oh my goodness. Look at this one here. Oh my word. Farwell. I'm looking at his. Wow. It's 23 pages. Farwell asking to move the trial.
I still think he's an idiot for wanting that.
Well, there was something I saw. Where was it? It was Twitter. Let me check this. Michelle McPhee. Yeah. Matthew Farwell's insistence via a court filing that his alleged victim, Sandra Birchmore, did in fact commit suicide is the first defense he has made since his arrest in August 2024. The filing also puts the Norfolk County DA's office and its investigators at odds with the feds. That's Michelle McPhee. So, like, I believe in that is gospel, is what she says, because she's plugged in, and that is a good thing. Imagine you get the DA's office and the FBI like fighting with each other, and like DA saying, "I'm just gonna do what I want. F you. You can't tell me what to do." And the FBI saying, "Really? Go ahead. Dare ya. Double dog dare ya." But I don't. And Falwell, he's just insisting that she did it herself, right? And that he had nothing to do with it, right? That's his deal. That he's got nothing to do with this.
Yep.
Come on.
But
They get-
he forgot that there's video of him going into her apartment.
How do you video? You have video evidence of that. How? Just how do you know how you work around that?
These people seem to think that they're completely invisible and that everybody is going crazy with their eyes by seeing the video footage of and listening to the audio of all of these cases together. And they're thinking that we're all the crazy ones because we're seeing it. But it's like they're trying to tell us, no, that wasn't me. Really?
A lot of money for new phones, isn't it? You just can't walk into Best Buy and say, give me 13 new phones.
Why not?
Yeah. Everyone's getting a burner. Here you go. One for you, one for you. $100 prepaid phones. But yeah, Dave, it's a lot of money for new phones. You're not kidding. Each one, too.
Yeah, it was probably Meatball that paid for it too.
When I'm looking at Farwell's charges, let me show you real quick about them. They include what happened to me. Can you see me on the screen?
Yeah.
You can't because I don't. That's wow.
I see you on 1, 2, 3 screens.
I think this is foul. Yep. This is his motion to transfer. Let me zoom in for you guys. Where are you? This is him asking to move venue. And if you go down here, right? This he just says that he didn't. This is saying he's got nothing to do with it. She did it herself. But look at part of his thing is they got video of him in it on entering February 1st. One example of the bias in the reporting is illustrated in a Globe article published on June 12, 2025, written by columnist Yvonne Abraham with the Globe staff. Laura Cremula. This article discusses DNA testing results where two unidentified sources know that Mr. Farwell is not the father of the fetus that was carried by Mrs. Birchmore. So, like, yeah,
But you know why he's trying to claim that he had no part, right?
Yeah.
Because of the simple fact that she wasn't found for a couple days after. So he's trying to claim that just because he went there that night does not mean that's the night that she was unalived. He's trying to say it could have happened within the next couple days.
listen to this. Another reader disparaged Mr. Farwell and said he should die. Pig Farwell should exit prison in a green bag, highly likely playing the cop card he victimized, abused other girls and women. ID at 10. The examples continue. Firing squad. What a demonic thing this Matthew Farwell is. So gross in Norfolk County. More recently, when defense filed this motion requesting to leave to file a motion to transfer venue to the page limits, the Globe published a story with a half an hour. Okay. Public comments
Riot.
show a strong bias against Mr. Farwell.
He
Yeah,
needs to cry a little harder.
that's what it is. That he's yapping that people have already made up their mind about Farwell.
Wah, wah, wah.
The killer deserves a death penalty. A police officer who is a child rapist and then kills his pregnant victim and his future child. Death penalty material if there ever was any. One reader writes simply death penalty, followed by another comment. So yeah, people are not happy with him, and they're using what people's opinions to say, hey, look at they're already biased. Don't look at this guy walking into the apartment for the very last time. This is the last time anybody entered her apartment. You're looking at the dude right there. Last time anyone walked in her apartment is by him. Right then and there.
Yeah, but he's going to claim, well, the camera must have been broken.
I'm
Gail
told
said-
his wife said go take care of it.
That's what his wife told her? Or told him?
That's what his wife said to him.
So she was behind it.
Sure knew about it.
Gail said, do you have the show going on 2 different devices? Because you're still double. The one that's really low volume is one word behind you.
No. The only thing I have open is Facebook. No. I think, to be honest, Gail, it's the internet because they're having big problems all around. My whole screen's skipping around. So Farwell saying he wants to move his trial. It'd be interesting to see that, right?
He can move it to China. I'll allow it.
Interesting. Very interesting. And the email I sent, I got no response.
Or maybe he could move it to Vietnam.
Chief Perkins needs another follow-up. I think. Oh, he's got 2 more days. No, I'm sorry. He's got a couple more days for the first one. So it was sent on the 10th. Or
And then you sent it again yesterday, right?
6. We're 7 days in right now. They have 10 days. Yeah, I sent him one just to check in, and he didn't even respond. So, whatever.
You should, in the subject line, put no nudes and see if he opens it.
I found the nudes. Open.
I found the nudes, open, respond.
Oh my.
It's directed towards the 227 phone call or Google search.
Yep. And think about that. They were calling back and forth, back and forth. Brian and Higgins, right? Back and forth, back and forth.
Yep. It was
And
all
then-
butt dials and
And then
butt
they deny
messages.
it. And then they deny it all. Nope, never happened. Wow. That's some crazy stuff there, girl. Well, all right. Let's wrap it up. It's 2.5
Sounds good.
hours. All right, lady. Have
All right.
a wonderful day.
Everybody has a wonderful, blessed day. Stay safe in this state. I can't talk.
You know, come on.
Tongue twisters. Stay safe in this crazy world we live in.
Ain't that the truth? Awesome. And thank you everybody who's watching now, who's gonna watch later. I mean, I'm blessed that we're all here together. And I gotta thank the chat, and I specifically gotta thank Gail, because man, I don't know what we do without you. Really. Look at all the knowledge that she has. Like, she's got, like, always has the littlest details that she knows that, like, you're forgetting, like, oh yeah. So, and we got Dave out there, my guy. We're gonna go to the horse races, Dave. Oh, let's talk about that real quick. Toys for Tots. Okay. I spoke to Deanne yesterday, and the room in the back is open. So I reserved that entire room, like we had before, the same room. And everybody's invited. Everybody's invited. So please spread the word. We're doing this for a toy drive. This is not Kieran Reed. This is not Aiden. This is for the children, the kids. Toy drive. Raise money. Raise awareness. Whatever we get there, toys, we're gonna wrap them up. We're gonna then whatever we get for donations, we're gonna go to Walmart and bring you guys with us, and we're gonna buy stuff for the families that really, you know, we take for granted every day what we got, you know. And right now, there's a mother out there worried, sick about Christmas, about her kids, right? Worried, sick, losing sleep over this because she knows Christmas is not going to be good. Why can't we help that person and just change that person's life? Because in like 20 years, when they're rich and millionaires, they can do the same thing when they remember what happened.
No, then they can help us when we're old and dying.
And that's how it works, right?
I'm just
That's
kidding.
how it works. But yeah, I mean, let's
Mm-hmm.
relieve some people's pain, which is easy, right? It's just money. It's just money. Money comes every day, money goes, right? The money you have today is gonna be gone, and you're gonna
It
get
grows
more.
on trees.
I've learned that money's irrelevant because money comes and goes, and it's the importance of having it isn't a life driving of achievement type of a thing. People are.
Money does
So,
not make for happiness.
no,
Money
but
does not fill the heart.
at the same
Family,
time,
friends.
you can't buy a toy for a child with your looks. Just ain't happening.
Oh,
Right.
you want to see? Let's make a bet. Come on, let's go into a store. Let's see who can be the first one to
Yeah.
buy a toy with their looks.
Yeah. Oh, more news, guys. More news. You ready for this? Guess who I spoke with this morning?
Besides me?
Yeah,
Oh,
Mikey.
how's he doing?
He's doing good. We gotta keep praying for him though. He's got a big test coming up, so we gotta pray for Mikey.
Well, he's gonna get 100% on that test. He's gonna ace
Yep.
it.
He's gonna do good, right? It's what we want. So I guess they can, in your blood, when they do tests, they can find out what's up, and they're gonna send him out and on his way and say you're good to go. Come back in a year later, and he sounds good. He says he's got more energy. He's more vibrant. So
Good
good to
deal.
hear that. Giddy up. That's good news. So, woof, that was a close one.
He's getting better, so he can go to the horse track with you and Dave.
It's you bring this up because that's what we talked about. That is the strangest thing about Dave and bringing Mike. It's just that's odd. Maybe we can do that. Maybe we'll Dave. Maybe we'll kidnap Mike, right, and take him with us down to the track and do some gambling with him for the day.
There you go.
The guy's day. What do you think, Dave?
I think Mike would love that.
Sure would. Who wouldn't? We got to get to his wife though. Set it up.
Bring her some flowers.
She'll make sure he's got his meds and he's good to go all in that area and stuff. And yep.
Bring her some
Definitely.
flowers.
Yep. Definitely a good thought. So, all right. Are you up in the morning tomorrow? You got busy stuff tomorrow? What do you got? Thank you guys for praying for Mike. I really appreciate that, Gail and Donna. I do.
I think I'm open tomorrow.
Okay. We'll see what happens. How about that?
That sounds good to me.
Awesomeness. Because, it's the whole nother going to blow up tomorrow. This is just crazy to keep up with all the stuff happening around here. Farwell just pled guilty. I mean, freaking Walsh. Brian Walsh pled guilty to 2 different charges. We saw that live. 2 charges. He's just, wow. Did you ever think that would happen?
I did not think it was going to happen today when they started jury selection. I thought it was going to happen like at some point, but I didn't think it was going to happen today.
I'm shocked.
I didn't think he was going to plead guilty to those 2.
Right.
Those 2 specific ones.
Yeah. But yet, here we are. Crazy. Oh, tomorrow I have to go into Boston. That's right. It's my nephew's birthday. Forgot about that. Maybe we'll do live. Maybe we'll do a live from that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we'll see.
Prayers for Mary's sister too. She's
Mary's sister.
Today.
Yep, I like Mary. She's good here.
She's
all right, everybody. I want you all to have a safe, wonderful day. Enjoy the night. Give the loved ones a kiss. And maybe we'll see you tomorrow soon. One way or the other, we'll see you soon. Love you guys.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Cold mornings, cracked pavement, courthouse steps. He's there before sunrise while the world still rests. No cameras needed, no spotlight glare. Just a man with a purpose, always standing there. Facing the crowd, but the fight in his veins. Truth in his hands, pushing through the rain. Karen sees him, she knows what it means when you've got boots on the ground and you fight for your dreams. Boots on the ground, day after day, standing for truth in the hardest way. No fame, no glory, just a promise kept. Tom CPU, you never left. He don't ask for credit, don't ask for praise. just fighting the good fight in 1,000 ways. When the cameras fade and the voices die, he's still right there, never asking why. He's got a handshake that you can trust, eyes that don't blink when it comes to us. Karen smiles because she knows it's true. She's got a soldier and his name's CPU. Boots on the ground, day after day, standing for truth in the hardest way. No fame, no hoarding, just a promise kept. Tom CPU, you never left. When the courthouse is empty and the crowd's gone home, Tom's still walking, he's never alone. 1,000 steps, a million prayers, because justice don't sleep and neither does he care.